think that in Hudson Valley and other places, there are craft that are flying around that look like ours that are not ours, that it's a form of camouflage.
Yes. And it's perfect. As I said in the beginning of this conversation, when Ellen Crystal took me out into the field, one of the first nights I was out there, we noticed somebody said, "Hey, there's something coming up over the ridge behind us." And we all turned and looked, and then I turned my camera and focused on it. It was a series of lights in a row, and it looked like a cigar-shaped object coming up over the ridge. And as it got over the ridge, it spread wings out. The wings just folded out, and lights that were on the wingtips, you could see them on the photograph coming out. And then it flattened out, and then banked towards the other side of the valley, and turned on sound. So not only did it unfold wings, but it turned on sound. And then Rich, who was in the group, said, "No way!" And he goes running for his car, and he jumps in, and Ellen says, "Grab your camera, we're going to follow him." So I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I'm a scientist. This is maybe the second or third time I'd been out in the field with her, seeing all of this stuff, and it was just absolutely mind-blowing. And I'm bouncing around in the back of her seat as we're racing down these narrow country roads. And then finally the lead car stops at an intersection, and Ellen's car stops behind it. And Ellen said, get out, look." And when we got out, the lead car driver pointed up, and the craft had stopped dead in the air. It was hovering. It rotated around 180 degrees and flew right back over us underneath a cloud cover with the moon backlit by the moon, so you could see its silhouette, and it was the shape of a Boeing 707, all black, and it just went right back the way it came.
You know, you think about it, if you wanted to fly around the skies with impunity and not be hassled, you would disguise yourself as a plane that would look normal.
And I had another encounter, and I have a video of this one, which was really, we had 3 craft come at us one time. I was with a friend of mine, and we were down on South Searsville Road, and one right after another. The first one that came over us was a black triangle. I got a beautiful video of that. The next one looked like a commercial plane, but it looked like a DC-9 with the engines out at the tail, part of the fuselage, but there were no engines on it. As it flew over us, it turned and away from us and was going north. And as it moved away on video, the whole belly lights up. It just lit up, and then it went black again. And the planes don't have belly lights like that.
You've reverse engineered some sound. It sounds like a jet engine or an airplane engine.
Right, and it fools so many people when they fly over and they produce this sound. And but when I do a frequency spectrogram of it, it's anything but a jet engine sound. I've recorded jet engine sounds many times, and I've compared them, and it is synthesized. Ellen Crystal in her book says all the sounds that are coming from them were artificial because they could stop and change the music, so to speak, right in mid-flight.
So it's making people think that it's an airplane.
Exactly. And what I saw was 10 to 12 separate frequencies paralleling one another, each one individually made as in a music synthesizer. And all of the frequencies decreased in pitch as the sound source came towards the microphone. And after it passed us, all the sound frequencies increased. And this is turning out to be quite an amazing discovery for the theoretical physicists, because now with materials and quasi-crystals, they're actually replicating some of them and sending sound through, and the sound inverts and reverses the frequencies.
Recently, on The Basement Office, investigative reporter Tim McMillan told host Stephen Greenstreet the following, which he heard from a veteran source inside the intel and aerospace world.
They alluded to the fact that they weren't flying saucers, they weren't tic-tacs, that they were something that possessed the ability to kind of make your mind see what makes sense to you. And so whatever it was didn't look like a flying saucer.
If McMillan's source is correct, and the phenomenon can appear in a way that makes sense to the observer, then perhaps that explains why perceptions of anomalous encounters change over time. And if ATIP's conclusions are correct, and the phenomenon can manipulate both physical and cognitive environments, then perhaps ufology has been too close-minded.